If your money is vanishing from your hands each month, it is not because you lack wisdom in earning. It is because you are storing it in vessels that leak, and no teacher ever revealed this truth to you. For 60 years, I have studied the ancient texts, and I have seen thousands of souls trapped in a prison of their own making, working until their bodies break, yet never tasting true abundance. Today I will share with you something that changed the destiny of a man I knew, a craftsman named Nathaniel, whose story will illuminate the path that has been hidden from you. But first, you must understand this. The sages teach us that everything in creation is either a vessel or a light. The light is the blessing that flows from the infinite source. The vessel is what contains and shapes that blessing. If you place divine light into a cracked pot, the light escapes. If you pour living water into a contaminated cistern, the water becomes poisoned. Your money, my dear friend, is not merely paper or metal. It is condensed energy, crystallized potential, the physical manifestation of value you have brought into this world. And if you are storing this sacred energy in places of dishonor, in containers of chaos, in environments of neglect, then you are telling the universe a story about yourself. You are declaring, I am not worthy of keeping what I earn. I am a vessel with holes. I am a broken cistern. Write these words in the comments now. I honor what flows to me. By writing this, you are making a covenant with yourself. You are announcing to the invisible forces that govern abundance that you are ready to change. And when you like this teaching, you are not simply pressing a button. You are accepting a blessing into your life. You are saying yes to transformation. Subscribe to continue receiving these ancient truths, because what I am about to share with you cannot be learned in one sitting. This is wisdom that unfolds in layers like the petals of a rose opening to the morning sun. Let me tell you about Nathaniel. He was a furniture maker, a man whose hands could transform rough timber into objects of beauty. People came from distant villages to commission his work because he built things that would outlive the grandchildren of those who purchased them. Yet, Nathaniel lived in constant anxiety. Every month was a battle. Every unexpected expense was a catastrophe. He worked from before dawn until after the stars appeared. But his money disappeared like morning dew under the desert sun. I remember the morning I found him sitting on the steps outside his workshop, his head in his hands, counting crumpled bills he had pulled from an old tin can. 30 coins. That was all that remained from 2 weeks of relentless labor. His rent required 50. His daughter needed clothing. Food for the household demanded another 20 coins. The weight of failure crushed his shoulders. There is a teaching in our tradition that says the righteous person falls 7 times and rises 8. But Nathaniel did not know he was falling because of something simple, something almost laughable in its simplicity. He was storing his life force, his condensed labor, his materialized time in a rusted can that once held coffee grounds. That can was stained, corroded, treated as garbage. And so the universe responded in kind, treating his money as garbage, causing it to vanish, to be spent on emergencies, to never accumulate, to never grow. That same morning, there came a knock at his door. It was Hannah, a widow who lived in the building, a woman who had arrived in that neighborhood 15 years earlier with nothing but a basket of sweet cakes to sell on the corner. Now, she owned 3 shops and lived with a serenity that made others whisper about her good fortune. But fortune, my friends, is not random. Fortune follows laws as precise as the laws of nature. Hannah understood something that most people never learn. She understood that abundance is not about how much enters your hands. It is about how you treat what enters your hands. The ancient texts speak of the vessels that held the oil for the temple. These vessels were crafted with extraordinary care. They were made from pure materials. They were cleaned with sacred attention. They were treated as holy objects because they contained something precious. The oil that burned in the temple was not ordinary oil. It was blessed, consecrated, set apart. And it could only be stored in vessels that matched its sanctity. Your money is like that temple oil. It carries within it the energy of your labor, your creativity, your life hours, transformed into value. If you throw it into any container without thought, without reverence, without intention, you're committing a form of spiritual violence against yourself. You are telling your soul that your life energy has no value. Hannah sat down with Nathaniel that morning and asked him a question that pierced his heart. Why do you store your money as though it were refuse? Nathaniel looked at the tin can confused. He had never thought about it. Money was just money. You earned it. You stored it somewhere. You spent it when needed. But Hannah saw deeper. She saw that how we treat the symbols of our abundance reveals how we treat ourselves. She saw that a man who stores his earnings in trash is a man who has forgotten his own worth. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself this question. Where is your money right now? Is it crumpled in a pocket? Is it stuffed into a torn wallet? Is it mixed with old receipts and forgotten papers in a drawer you never clean? If you are honest with yourself, you will realize that you have been treating the fruit of your labor with contempt, and the universe, which is a perfect mirror, has been treating you with contempt in return. This is not punishment. This is simply the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. As you treat your money, so your money treats you. Hannah shared with Nathaniel a secret that had been passed down through her family for generations. Her grandmother had been a merchant in the old country, a woman who built prosperity from nothing by understanding 7 sacred principles, 7 locations, 7 vessels where money does not simply rest, but actually grows, multiplies, attracts more of itself. These are not magical formulas. They are technologies of consciousness. They are methods for aligning your physical reality with spiritual laws that govern flow and increase. The first vessel Hannah revealed was the aromatic wooden box. She pulled from her bag a small container made from cedar, simple in design, but radiating a gentle fragrance that filled the room. Wood, she explained, is a living material. It comes from trees, which are symbols in our tradition of life growth, connection between heaven and earth. The tree of life, in the ancient teachings, represents the channels through which divine abundance flows from the infinite realm into the physical world. When you store your money in wood, especially fragrant wood like cedar or pine, you are placing it in an environment of growth. You are saying to this money here, you have roots here. You expand here. You connect to the source of all increase. Hannah opened the box. Inside were bills folded with precision, arranged with care, and 3 objects: a cinnamon stick, a dried bay leaf, a clear crystal. Each of these items, she explained, carries meaning. Cinnamon has been used since ancient times by traders to attract abundance. Its scent opens pathways in consciousness. Bay leaves represent victory and success, the crowning of efforts with achievement. The crystal amplifies intention, acting as a lens that focuses the energy of your purpose. These are not superstitions. They are tools for directing consciousness, for creating an environment where the energy of money feels welcomed, honored, valued. Nathaniel touched the box with wonder, and this works simply by placing money inside. Hannah smiled. It works because it changes your relationship with money. When you honor your money, money honors you. The sages teach that whoever guards the small will receive the large. My first box was made from an old shoe container wrapped in red cloth. It does not need to be expensive. It needs to be intentional. It needs to be created with awareness, with respect, with love. Red is the color associated with life force in many traditions. It represents vitality, passion, the blood that carries oxygen to every cell. When you wrap your money box in red, you are declaring this container holds life energy. Every time you place money into this box, Hannah instructed, you must speak a blessing over it, not from obligation, but from genuine feeling. You might say, this money grows, this money multiplies, this money brings blessings to my household. Words are not mere sounds. Words are creative forces. In the beginning, the texts tell us, the world was spoken into existence through words. When you speak blessing over your money, you are participating in that same creative power. You are programming the energy you have earned with an instruction to increase. The second vessel Hannah shared was even more surprising. She reached into her bag and withdrew an ancient book, its pages worn from years of reading. She opened it to a section of Proverbs, and there between the pages lay a folded bill. Books of wisdom, she said, are portals of knowledge. The mystical tradition teaches that letters contain divine energy, that sacred texts are containers of infinite light. When you store money between the pages of a wisdom book, that money absorbs the knowledge. It becomes intelligent money. It learns how to grow, how to multiply, how to find pathways back to you. I always keep a bill in my sacred book, Hannah continued, in the psalm that speaks of the shepherd who provides. The source is my shepherd. I lack nothing. And believe me, Nathaniel, since I began this practice, I have never lacked anything. The money I keep in that book reminds me that true wealth comes from the infinite provider. But the infinite works through our wise actions, through our conscious choices, through our alignment with spiritual law. Nathaniel thought of the sacred book his mother had left him when she passed. It was stored in a drawer, unopened, for years. Take it out, Hannah said firmly. Place your first bill there, and every time you see it, remember that real riches come from aligning with divine wisdom. Money without wisdom disappears. Money with wisdom compounds, increases, builds structures that last for generations. The third vessel Hannah revealed was the clean mirror. She explained that mirrors in mystical teaching represent consciousness, reflection, the ability to see clearly. When you place your money box in front of a spotless mirror, you are doubling it symbolically. You are creating a reflection of abundance. But more importantly, you are forcing yourself to see your money clearly, to look at it directly, to acknowledge its presence. Most people avoid looking at their money. They check their account balance with dread. They count their bills with shame. This avoidance creates invisibility. What you refuse to see cannot grow. What you hide in darkness cannot multiply. Clean your mirror until it shines, Hannah instructed. Not just wipe it, but truly clean it until you can see your reflection without distortion. Then place your wooden box in front of that mirror. Every morning when you see it, you will be reminded that you are looking at your own abundance, your own capacity to generate value, your own worthiness to receive. This simple act rewires consciousness. It transforms shame into dignity. It converts hiding into claiming. The fourth vessel is the sealed red envelope. Hannah pulled from her bag a red envelope with something written across the front in careful script. Inside this envelope, she said, I keep money that is dedicated to a specific intention. The envelope must be red for life force. It must be sealed to contain the energy. And on the outside, you must write clearly what this money is for. Perhaps you write money for my daughter's education, or money for purchasing my own home, or money for building my business. The key is specificity. The universe responds to clarity. Vague wishes produce vague results. Precise intentions produce precise manifestations. This envelope should be placed high, Hannah said, on a shelf above your eye level, because in our tradition, lifting something up symbolizes elevating it from the mundane to the sacred. When you place that sealed envelope above your normal sight line, you are declaring this money serves a higher purpose. It is not for daily expenses. It is for building a future, and you must not open that envelope until the amount inside matches your intention, or until you are ready to use it for its stated purpose. This creates a container of focused energy, a magnetic field that begins to attract opportunities aligned with your intention. The fifth vessel Hannah shared was the earthenware container that is never broken. She described a clay vessel, simple and unadorned, where she collected every small coin she found or received. Many people dismiss small money, she said. They see coins as insignificant. They leave them on counters. They throw them in random places. But the sages teach that one who despises small things will never handle large things. Coins are seeds. A seed looks insignificant, but it contains within it the blueprint for an entire tree. When you collect coins with gratitude, when you honor the smallest denominations, you are training your consciousness to value all forms of abundance. The clay container must never be broken, Hannah emphasized. In the old practice, people would smash their savings containers when they wanted to use the money. This is terrible symbolism. It trains you to associate accessing money with destruction. Instead, your earthenware vessel should have an opening. You feed it coins regularly. You watch it fill, and when the time is right, you pour the coins out, count them with joy, and use them intentionally. Then you begin filling the vessel again. This creates a cycle of accumulation and wise use, rather than a cycle of hoarding and destruction. The sixth vessel is hidden in plain sight. It is the drawer of clean, fragrant clothing. Hannah explained that in the tradition of her family, women would tuck bills between their finest garments, the clothes reserved for celebration and sacred days. These clothes were kept immaculate, folded with care, perfumed with pleasant scents. By placing money among these honored possessions, they were creating an association in consciousness. Money belongs with what is valuable. Money dwells where there is order and beauty. Money is attracted to environments that are prepared, maintained, treated as precious. Choose your best clothing, Hannah told Nathaniel. Clean your drawer completely. Perhaps add a sachet of lavender or rose. Fold your garments with love and attention, then place a bill between the folds. Every time you open that drawer, you will see beauty and smell fragrance, and be reminded that your money deserves the same care you give to what you cherish most. This is not about perfection. This is about intentionality. It is about waking up from the unconscious habits that keep abundance away. The seventh and most important vessel, Hannah said with sudden intensity, is the open hand, the hand that gives. There is a law that is more powerful than all other laws of prosperity. It is this: the channel that gives is the channel that receives. A river that has no outlet becomes a stagnant pool. Water that does not flow becomes poisonous. Money that is never shared becomes a curse rather than a blessing. You must give, Nathaniel. Give even when it hurts. Give even when you think you cannot afford it. Give to those who have less. Give to causes that elevate humanity. Give to the sacred work of teachers and healers. Give to feed the hungry. Give to shelter the homeless. But give intelligently, Hannah cautioned, not to make yourself feel superior, not to be seen as generous, not to manipulate outcomes. Give because you understand that you are a channel, not a reservoir. Give because you recognize that everything you have came from the infinite source and is meant to flow through you, not stop in you. The mystical tradition teaches a practice called righteous giving. It is not charity in the sense of pity. It is justice. It is recognizing that those with abundance have a responsibility to circulate that abundance, to keep the energy moving, to participate in the divine economy, where giving and receiving are one continuous motion. How much should you give? Nathaniel asked. Hannah answered, the ancient guideline is 1/10 of what enters your hands. But this is not a tax. This is an investment in your own spiritual development. When you give 1/10, you are declaring, I trust that the source will provide. I believe in abundance. I am not operating from scarcity and fear. This act of faith opens invisible doors. It signals to the universe that you understand the rules of the game. It marks you as someone who participates in flow rather than hoarding in fear. Nathaniel sat in silence, absorbing these 7 vessels, these 7 locations where money transforms from mere currency into growing seed. A wooden box perfumed with intention, a wisdom book holding blessed bills, a clean mirror reflecting abundance, a sealed envelope containing focused purpose, an earthen vessel collecting small treasures, a drawer of honored clothing hiding sacred energy, an open hand releasing blessings into the world. These were not tricks. These were principles. They were technologies for aligning physical action with spiritual law. Over the following weeks, Nathaniel began to implement what Hannah had taught. He found a small cedar box at a market. He cleaned it carefully, lined it with red cloth his daughter helped him cut. He placed inside a cinnamon stick purchased from a spice vendor, a bay leaf dried from a tree in the courtyard, a clear stone he found by the river. He folded his bills, few as they were, and placed them in this honored container with a spoken blessing. This money grows. This money multiplies. This money brings blessings to my family. He took out the sacred book his mother had given him, dusted it off, opened it to the Psalm of the Shepherd, and placed a bill between those pages. He cleaned the small mirror in his room until his reflection was crystal clear, then positioned his wooden box before it. He purchased a red envelope, wrote on it clearly money from Miriam's education, sealed it with a bill inside, and placed it on the highest shelf in his home. He found a simple clay jar and began dropping every coin he received into it with gratitude. He organized his clothing drawer, removed everything, cleaned it thoroughly, added a small bundle of dried herbs, folded his best shirt with care, and tucked a bill between its folds. And most difficult of all, he gave. When a laborer had no money for lunch, Nathaniel bought him a meal. When the house of study asked for contributions, he gave despite his fear. When he saw his daughter admiring new shoes, he bought them without complaint or resentment. Something shifted. It was not dramatic. It was not overnight. But clients began appearing. A man needed an entire furniture set for his home, a commission worth more than Nathaniel usually earned in a month. Another client recommended him to a business owner who needed custom pieces for an office. Within 3 months, Nathaniel had paid his debts, bought food without anxiety, and still had money remaining. But more importantly, the knot in his stomach dissolved. The fear that had been his constant companion faded. He began to sleep peacefully. He came to Hannah one evening and told her everything. The cedar box with its cinnamon and bay, the bill in his mother's sacred book at the Psalm of Provision, his money before the spotless mirror, the sealed red envelope on the high shelf containing his intention for his daughter, the clay jar filling with grateful coins, the bill hidden in his best clothing in the perfumed drawer, and the hardest practice, the open hand that gave despite fear, that shared despite scarcity, that participated in flow despite the screaming voice of survival. The money began arriving. Nathaniel said, his voice filled with wonder, not from one source, but from many. Clients I had never met, recommendations from strangers, opportunities that seemed to appear from nowhere. But the greatest change was not in my bank account. It was in my heart. Money is no longer my enemy. It is no longer something I fear. It has become my partner, my ally, something I treat with respect, and which now treats me with respect in return. Hannah embraced Nathaniel as a mother embraces a son. You have learned, she said, and now your task is to teach. Because prosperity that is hoarded rots. Prosperity that is shared multiplies infinitely. But there is more for you to understand, Nathaniel. These 7 vessels are only the beginning. The wisdom tradition has layers upon layers of teaching about abundance, about attracting blessings, about breaking curses of poverty that pass through family lines for generations. There are words you must never speak if you wish to remain prosperous. There are mourning practices that take only moments but open invisible gates. There are ancient prayers that merchants would recite before every transaction. All of this exists, waiting for those ready to receive it. And you who are listening now, where is your money? Is it in a rusted can like Nathaniel's at the beginning? Is it in a torn wallet crumpled and forgotten? Is it mixed with garbage in a neglected drawer? Or are you ready to honor your money in the 7 sacred vessels and watch your life transform? The mystical teaching explains that we live in a universe of cause and effect. Every action creates a reaction in the invisible realm. When you honor your money, you send a signal to the cosmos. You declare, I value abundance. I deserve prosperity. I am a worthy vessel for blessings. And the universe responds, not with magic tricks, but with opportunities, with ideas, with unexpected meetings, with doors swinging open. Do this today, right now, while the energy of this teaching is alive in your awareness. Find a wooden container, even small. It could be a tea box, an empty cigar box, anything made from living wood. Clean it with attention. If you can line it with red fabric, place inside a cinnamon stick a bay leaf, and if you have one, a small clear stone. Fold your bills carefully, as though they were love letters from the infinite to you, because that is precisely what they are. Position this box before a clean mirror. Find the wisest book in your home. Open it to a page of blessing and place money there. Prepare your red envelope with your specific intention, written clearly. Buy or find an earthenware container and begin filling it with coins and gratitude. Organize your clothing, scent your drawer, and place money among what you honor. And above all, give with an open heart. Give even when it feels uncomfortable. Give even when you think you lack enough, because the hand that gives is never truly empty. The story of Hannah continues beyond what I have told you. Her grandmother Rachel had arrived from the old country in the year of great upheaval, fleeing war, with a single trunk and a secret, the knowledge of these 7 vessels that her own mother had taught her. Rachel began by selling fabric in the marketplace. Every coin she earned was treated as treasure. She had a small olive wood box she had brought from her homeland. Inside, she kept her money with cinnamon and rosemary. She had a sacred text where she kept a folded bill. She had a mirror she polished each morning, before which she placed her box. She had red envelopes with her intentions written in careful script. She had an earthen jar she filled with small coins. She kept money between her finest clothing, perfumed for sacred days. And always she gave 1/10 to those in need. Within 15 years, Rachel owned 3 fabric shops in the city. Within 30 years, her family was established in prosperity, all because she understood something most people ignore. Money is not merely paper. It is living energy that responds to how you treat it. Now you might say, but Hannah had good fortune, Rachel had luck. Nathaniel was in the right place at the right time. No, it was not luck. It was knowledge applied. It was wisdom in action. It was respect for the spiritual laws governing money that the ancient tradition has taught for thousands of years. These laws work for any person, regardless of faith, age, nation, or current circumstance. They work because they are universal principles, as real as the law of planting and harvest. If you plant seeds of respect toward money, you will harvest abundance. If you plant seeds of contempt, disorder, and stinginess, you will harvest scarcity. Remember the 7 sacred vessels. Let me review them quickly so they are engraved in your memory. First, the aromatic wooden box with cinnamon bay and crystal. Second, within a wisdom book on a page of blessing. Third, before a spotless mirror. Fourth, in a sealed red envelope with written intention. Fifth, in an earthen vessel that is never broken. Sixth, in a drawer of clean, perfumed clothing. Seventh, in the open hand that gives with generosity. These are the 7 locations where money grows, multiplies, and attracts more abundance. They are not superstitions. They are spiritual technology proven across centuries by a people known for prosperity. If this teaching has touched your heart, if something within you has awakened, if you recognize that you have been treating your money without the respect it deserves, then act now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Leave a comment saying, I honor my money. Write those 4 words, and you will be declaring to the universe that you are ready for change. Subscribe to this channel and activate notifications for more teachings that transform lives. Because this is only one of countless truths the ancient wisdom offers. Share this teaching with someone who needs these sacred secrets. Think of that person who struggles constantly with money, who works endlessly, but sees no results, who deserves to know these ancestral principles. Send them this message today. It may be the most valuable gift you ever give. Remember, these 7 sacred vessels are only the beginning of your journey toward true prosperity. There are deeper practices, older prayers, hidden methods that families of abundance have used for generations. Do not let this moment pass. May the blessing of the patriarchs fall upon you and your household. May your hands never be empty, and may abundance flow toward you like a river that never ceases. May the source of all provision open the windows of heaven and pour blessing upon you until it overflows. So be it. Peace be upon you. And until the next teaching, where we continue uncovering the ancient secrets of prosperity according to timeless wisdom.